Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Lydia Ojijochi. Thank you for joining us. This broadcast is being streamed live on our website nta.ng/live and other social media handles displayed on your screen. Now, let's begin with President Muhammadu Buhari, who has commended the United Nations for coming together to tackle challenges the world is currently facing, including insecurity, irregular migration, and the ongoing war in Ukraine. Speaking at the ongoing 77th United Nations General Assembly meeting, the president also called for sustained efforts by the international community to address climate change issues.
Are now more severely tested by these enduring and the new global challenges, paramount among which are conflicts increasingly being driven by non-state actors, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, terrorism, violent extremism, malignant use of technology, climate change, irregular migration, and disparities in opportunities for improved standards of living.
Senate has confirmed the appointment of Justice Olukayode Ariwola as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. After the Justice presented his curriculum vitae, senators demanded to know his plans for the Nigerian judiciary, how he intends to address major challenges such as improving welfare of judicial workers, delay in justice delivery, improving transparency and compliance to rules in judicial appointments.
If confirmed as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, my Lord, how will you ensure that the judiciary under your leadership is better equipped to perform this role?
My Lord, I'm happy that you have identified as your core vision issues of reform in our administration of justice, particularly the issues of our rules and procedure of practice.
There are really growing concerns about appointment of judicial officers in this country.
We witness unnecessary delay in the administration of justice in our country.
Lawyers may soon address the court from the comfort of their chambers once they are properly briefed. What has been our problem is fund. There's need to improve on the way we file processes, the way we still do a lot of writing.
But for the first time, not only were they seen, indeed they were heard by way of a joint correspondence. I hate to use the word petition, but a joint correspondence that was endorsed by pretty much every member of the court.
It was not a petition. The justices were not protesting. No, it was not a protest. We couldn't have carried placards. We just thought to put our complaint on paper for our brother, the Chief Justice. That was all.
Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola for appointment as the Chief Justice of Nigeria? Those in favor will say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. The nomination of Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola is hereby confirmed as the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives says it will continue to enact laws that will enhance the expansion of Nigeria's capital market. This is contained in a message by the Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, to a public hearing on two business-related bills. National Assembly correspondent Mobolaji Moribirin reports.
These are experts and stakeholders in the financial sector who, on the invitation of the National Assembly, are here to speak on the bills to repeal the Investment and Securities Act and to establish the Securities and Exchange Commission as the apex regulatory authority for the Nigerian capital market, and they want to repeal the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers and to establish the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments.
Our ultimate goal is to ensure that these institutions are properly grounded to perform their functions, execute their mandates, and serve the best interests of the Nigerian people.
It is my earnest desire that during this public hearing, we as citizens of these great nations will ensure all hands are on deck for the good and prosperity of investors in the capital market of our great nation.
Key players in the capital market made their submissions on the relevance of the two bills.
There is no doubt that Nigeria needs and in fact deserves an internationally competitive and well-functioning capital market to facilitate the ongoing economic diversification. The passage and enactment of the Investments and Securities Bill 2022 will be a pivotal step in this direction.
We commend the SEC for the quality content of the bill, and we support the passage of this bill.
We welcome the review of the Investment and Securities Act.
This bill seeks to expand the scope of the current regulation and bring in more capital market operators under one umbrella body.
The bills, when passed, seek to improve the operations of the Nigeria capital market. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji, Moribiri, NTA News.
In another development, the House of Representatives has commenced investigation of the joint venture businesses and production sharing contracts of the NNPC from 1990 to date to ascertain whether the procedures were within the ambit of the law. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Ogunshola will tell us more.
This is yet another round of investigation in the oil and gas industry, but this time the mandate is to establish whether the various joint ventures agreement of the NNPC and their structures have not been conducted in the way that deprive the nation of the intended benefits.
It should be noted that joint venture agreements and production sharing contracts are supposed to protect the interests of all parties. However, there are concerns that these agreements are being observed in breach.
Infractions in the oil and gas business, either by the operating companies or individuals within the sector, have a corollary effect on the Nigerian economy.
Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, represented by the...
Moving on now, let us still from the National Assembly. Speaker House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila says House leadership will hold consultation with President Muhammadu Buhari immediately he returns from New York towards finding ways of bringing to an end the ongoing strike action by ASUU. After a meeting that lasted several hours behind closed doors between House leadership, the Ministry of Education and ASUU officials, Gbajabiamila, disclosed that some agreements have been reached and that the resolutions will be submitted to Mr. President. The House will also meet with other key stakeholders on the deployment of payment system for universities. ASUU President thanked the House leadership for the intervention as members await amicable resolution of the impasse. Still on ASUU, members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, have been ordered to suspend their prolonged industrial action, which had affected education in public universities. The National Industrial Court, Abuja Division, gave the order while ruling on an interlocutory injunction filed by the federal government against ASUU. Olabode Arewa reports.
Citing the provisions of Section 17 and 18 of the Trade Disputes Act 2004, Justice Polycarp Aman said ASUU members ought to have suspended the strike immediately the matter was referred to court for dispute settlement. In dismissing ASUU's arguments, the court observed that reasons for the prolonged industrial action were less important than the irreparable damage it is doing to the education sector.
It recognizes the fact that without education, there will be no rule of law. I thank the judiciary for saving educational development. What has happened is that the past 7 months, educational development has been halted, particularly in public universities in Nigeria, which ought not to be.
As per the next action, there are quite a number of options open to the union. We will study the ruling with the legal team, and then we will adopt the most appropriate option.
Meanwhile, Justice Polikapaman has ordered that the case file be returned to the President of the National Industrial Court to reassign to a substantive judge, as Justice Aman is a vacation judge. No date has been fixed for hearing of the substantive matter. In Abuja, Olaboderewa, NTA News.
The planned peaceful protest by the National Association of Nigerian Students to obstruct traffic along Kaduna-Abuja Highway has been put off. The protest was planned by the association to draw public sympathy on the protracted strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Dawuda Mohammed reports that none of the protesters showed up.
There is free flow of vehicular movement along Kaduna-Abuja Highway, contrary to earlier announcement by the National Students Body to stage a peaceful protest. Motorists plying the highway did not notice any unusual happenings along the corridor.
This is the situation in front of the Federal Cooperative College on the Abuja-Kaduna Express Road, where students had planned on holding a peaceful demonstration against the ongoing ASUU strike. But presently, only heavy presence of security personnel are on ground to ensure safety of lives and property and ease of vehicular traffic on the road.
None of the organizers have been sighted at the venue, and effort to reach them was not successful. In Kaduna, Dawuda Mohammed, NTA News.
Okay, now we're going back to President Muhammadu Buhari's address at the UNGA, and joining us via phone conversation is Dr. Mukhtar Imam, Dean, Faculty of Communication Management and Social Science, Penn Resource University, Gombe. Thank you for joining us on Nationwide.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now, this is the last time President Muhammadu Buhari will be attending the United Nations General Assembly. What's your impression of his speech?
Thank you so much. This is a very pivotal moment, not just for the president as an individual, but for the president as an institution and for Nigeria as a nation. The president over the years has represented not just Nigeria at that August assembly, but has also made it known that he is making his voice known for the entire African continent and even beyond. His speech is basically as ever before, gravitating. It is one that basically touches around very important issues, and it has spoken to very topical events unfolding within the international system. For example, he talked about issues around multilateralism and the need to strengthen that in the face of COVID-19 and the pandemic and the threat which it posed to our collective existence as humans. He also spoke to the issue of small arms and light weapons, which he said is posing a threat to global peace and security, which is also very, very inimical in the face of the threat, which in practical terms, these small and light weapons basically pose to the world.
Definitely.
I think about yeah.
The president also touched on climate change, freedom of speech, which technology upholds, among other issues. But what does his statement on the 2023 general election foretell? Can you say anything about that?
Well, I'm not a forecaster, but I think the president basically means well. When you look around the conversation, what the message the president was trying to send across is that Nigeria has come of age and that we will see successive civilian-to-civilian administration and change of administrations, and that will go on. Even though he talked about the spread of or the resurgence of the military incursions around the African continent, and of course, as we all know, that has a bushfire effect. And so the president is trying to reassure the world that Nigeria has come, or rather that democracy has come to stay on the African continent, and that Nigeria will champion the cause of democracy to its full potential. So the issues of the 2023 general election, which the president spoke to, I think informs this position of Nigeria trying to once again, retreat its position as the giant of Africa with respect to leading in the direction of democracy.
All right, thank you so much for joining us on Nationwide and sharing your thoughts on President Muhammadu Buhari's speech at UNGA 77. Thank you indeed.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Yes, we've been talking to Dr. Mukhtar Imam, Dean, Faculty of Communication Management and Social Science, Penn Resource University, Gombe. Let's go over to Lagos, where Hingino is standing by with more stories making the rounds. Hello, Hingino.
Hello, Lydia. The fight against trafficking in persons is recording more successes with a performance index that indicates 571 arrests and 37 convictions, among others, from January 2022 till date. This was brought to the fore by the Director General, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, at a 5-day boot camp for members of State's Task Force holding in Lagos. Ruth Ario Samuel reports.
Statistics from 2019 to 2022 shows that 61% of human trafficking cases in Nigeria occurs internally, while 39% happens across our borders. This 5-day bootcamp peer review for State's Task Force on Human Trafficking provides another avenue for in-depth interactions among state and non-state actors on progress made and required improvements in line with the sub-objective 5.1.2 of the National Action Plan on Human Trafficking in Nigeria, 2022 to 2026. Director General, NAPTIP, Fatima Waziri Azi, represented, said although the trends of human trafficking may differ, statistics point to the fact that all states in Nigeria are currently affected by human trafficking.
We did consider and elect data to measure and analyze the nationwide incidences of human trafficking, identify potential victims, determine the patterns and tactics of the perpetrators, and identify
paramilitary organizations and call for more participation from Nigerians.
You have instances where our boys are being lured also for the purpose of football scholarship also in countries that don't even play football at all. So those are also signals that people should see and say, let's look at this information more.
Anti-trafficking response, it needs a timely response. It's not something that you identify a case and you're delaying or taking much time.
This boot camp, which has members from all 21 states task force, was organized to furnish members with relevant skills needed to drive performance towards eradicating trafficking in persons in Nigeria. In Lagos, Ruth Ariel Samuel, NTA News.
Talking health now, strengthening health security and response to disease threats are critical to stakeholders in the health sector. Lynn Leneke reports that this was the essence of the 2-week training organized by the United States government for public health experts rounded off in Lagos.
Our government works towards building a strong and resilient public health system to effectively respond to challenges, strengthening the workforce, disease surveillance, emergency response, and improvement of laboratory capacity becomes tasks that must be achieved. At the second cohort of the U.S. government capacity training, participants were exposed to specialized training in crisis and emergency risk communication, as well as strategic planning for better response to infectious disease threats.
What we've seen in Nigeria is a posture that demonstrates readiness to act, so that if any of these, even a new pandemic that haven't seen yet, that we're ready for it.
I'm satisfied because that we've established public health emergency operations centers that created this veritable platform for coordination of information and efficient resource management for outbreaks.
The U.S. Consul General, Will Stevens, highlighted the strategic partnership between Nigeria and the United States in strengthening the health sector, with assurance that strategic partnership with Nigeria on health security is a continuous process.
A key part of our relationship with Nigeria is building a healthy workforce and a healthy group of people that can keep the future of this country going.
Participants emphasized the integral role of preparing communities to respond to threats and recovery.
So this is actually a very good training, and our capacity has been built on the operations of the emergency issues.
The Public Health Emergency Management Training, which drew 25 epidemiologists from state-level ministries, is part of the U.S. government's efforts to support pandemic mitigation in Nigeria and globally. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. The button will locate Obehi in Benin for continuation of Nationwide after the break.
Many challenges we have faced as a government have been daunting, from terrorism to banditry, to kidnapping, to separatist violence, to crude oil theft, to armed robbery and Sunday crimes. It's undoubtedly the greatest challenge to the peace and security of our great country since the Civil War of 1967 to 1970. It's a kind of challenge that would have overwhelmed many nations. But thanks to the purposeful leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, we can say, I want to repeat, that the worst is over, and peace and security are gradually returning to the land.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, cordially invites all heads of broadcast stations, political correspondents, anchors of current affairs programs, INEC, chairmen and publicity secretaries of political parties, NGOs, civil society organizations, religious bodies, and the general public to a forum on political broadcast with the theme Towards a Fair and Responsible Broadcast Coverage of the 2023 General Elections, a multi-stakeholder dialogue. The forum will hold as follows. Enugu, Friday, 23rd September 2022 at Bond Diamond Hotel, Enugu. Abuja, Monday, 26th September 2022 at NAF Conference Center, Abuja. Chairman of the occasion, Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Guest speaker, INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu. Special guest of honor, EFCC Chairman, Mr. Abdul Rashid Bawa. Chief host, Director General, NBC, Malam Balarabe Shehu Ilela. Forum will start at 10 a.m. each day. Come and partner with the Commission to ensure the professional coverage of the 2023 electoral process. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Balarabe Shehu Ilela, Director General, Announcer.
That the Buhari-led administration has made remarkable progress,
like Lafia Transmission Station nearing completion.
Africa does not need charity, but partnerships that will promote the adequate investment
with the cooperation of all.
Sharing firsthand the experiences of reporters on the field as they bring to you weekly the beauty of Nigeria's diverse culture and the economic potentials therein. The Correspondent, development through the eye of the grassroots. Showing every Monday at 1:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA, with a repeat broadcast on NTA News 24 and NTA International. Join us.
Hello and welcome to NTA Benin Network Center on Nationwide. Governor Godwin Obaseki is reassuring that talks are ongoing with the Minister of Works to complete the reconstruction of the failed Benin-Auchi Expressway. This was the governor's response after a closed-door meeting with the Otaru of Auchi, Ikelebe III. Elizabeth Amoko reports.
The ever-busy Benin-Ekoma-Auchi Road in Edo State, a federal road that links the south-south, southeast to the northern part of the country, has lately become a nightmare, owing largely to the terrible state of the road, which kidnappers and other criminal elements have taken advantage of. Governor Baseki explains that the Federal Ministry of Works has solicited the state's support in paying compensations in some areas to channel flood water, especially on the Ekoma and Agbede axis of the expressway, which has been hindering the construction of the road.
And I'm going to be working on that assiduously over the next few weeks to make sure that whatever they need to construct that road is provided for them. If we don't do something about the Benin-Auchi Road, then we will have a major economic and security crisis. We'll continue to try and work with the federal government to ensure that we build the Benin-Auchi Road.
I want to appreciate him, the First President of Nigeria, Buhari, for reintroducing Nigerian railways in this country. The cheapest means of transportation in any country.
The Otaru, however, commended Governor Baseki for reviving the fertilizer blended plant in Auchi, which it says has helped in job creation and food production across Edo North. In Benin, Elizabeth Amako, NTA News.
The social consequence of drug abuse is palpable in citadels of learning, especially with youth indulgence. To curb this menace, an annual roundtable on cultural orientation has been organized by the National Institute for Cultural Orientation to sensitize youths to the dangers of drug abuse. Becky Greatman Chukuka reports that the theme of the conference is Culture, Drug Abuse and the Future of the Nigerian Youth.
Research shows that more than 7 million people suffer from an illicit drug disorder, and 1 in 4 deaths results from illicit drug use. To this end, some scholars have painstakingly taken their turns to share their knowledge with the youths on the consequences of drug abuse. They posit that the increased rate of insecurity and crime is traceable to drug abuse.
If they take drugs and they are addicted to drugs, you find that we will not have those to replace us in the near future.
To some of the youths, drug crime is a threat to development and security. They are appealing to the government to nip the issue in the bud.
Give us the perfect system for us to work so that the issue of drug abuse will reduce in our society.
I've learned that even little ones can abuse drugs, and there are so many effects of drug abuse, and drug abuse needs to be stopped immediately.
It's so far so good for us. We have achieved our aim and objective for coming and for doing the thing here in Asaba, Delta State.
It is hoped that recommendations made from the event will influence government policies and programs. In Asaba, Becky Greatman Chukuka, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja.
Thank you, Obehi. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has debunked some reports in the social media alleging that The commission is investigating the presiding justice of the Court of Appeal, Kano Division, Justice Ita Mbaba. A statement by the head of media and publicity of the commission, Wilson Ewujaren, confirmed that operatives of the commission have paid a visit on a property verification exercise owing to a subsisting matter involving the owner of the property and found there is no truth or linkage with any investigation of the justice of the Court of Appeal. The commission says available facts show that Justice Mbaba is not the owner of the property and therefore cannot be the subject of any investigation by the commission. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says divides are growing deeper, inequalities are growing wider, and challenges are spreading further. This was at the kickoff of the high-level week of the 77th session of the General Assembly. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
Is the convergence of the 193 members of the global body. On the front burner for them is how to provide transformative solutions to interlocking challenges by acknowledging the shared roots of crises such as COVID-19, climate change, and conflicts, and the need for solutions that builds global sustainability and resilience.
Our world is in big trouble.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the world needs collective action across the board.
Let me be clear. The SDG stimulus I'm proposing is essential, but it is only an interim measure. Today's global financial system was created by rich countries to serve their interests many decades ago. It expands and entrenches inequalities. It requires deep structural reform. And my report on our common agenda proposes a new global deal to rebalance power and resources between developed and developing countries.
For the president of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, there is no winner in war and no loser in fair peace process.
The conflict in Ukraine is exceeding its 7-month threshold, and we think that the war will never have a winner, and a fair peace process would not have a loser.
As a result of conflicts and humanitarian crisis, the Assembly reiterates that the funding gap for the UN Global Humanitarian Appeal stands at $32 billion, rated the widest ever. Adebola Brookslyn, NTA News.
Still at the UNGA 77, global greenhouse gas emissions need to be slashed by 45% by 2030 to have any hope of reaching net zero emissions by 2050. Sadly, emissions are going up at record levels, and United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres wants world leaders to act now to avoid a catastrophic future. NTA Fineface has details.
Climate change, a scorching earth, drowning cities, loss of biological diversity, and must end the suicidal war against nature.
Mega drought in China, the United States and beyond. Famine stalking the Horn of Africa. 1 million species at risk of extinction. No region is untouched. And we ain't seen nothing yet. The hottest summers of today may be the coolest summers of tomorrow. Once-in-a-lifetime climate shocks may soon become once-a-year events. And with every climate disaster, we know that women and girls are the most affected.
Planet Earth, Guterres says, is a victim of scorched policies where the poorest and most vulnerable, those who contribute the least to this crisis, are bearing its most brutal impacts. He notes that although fossil fuels cannot be shut down overnight, a just transition pathway must be followed, leaving no person or country behind.
Vulnerable countries need meaningful action. Loss and damage are happening now, hurting people and economies now, and must be addressed now, starting at COP27. This is a fundamental question of climate justice, international solidarity, and trust.
He says it is high time to put fossil fuel producers, investors, and enablers on notice that polluters must pay. calling on all developed economies to tax the windfall profits of fossil fuel companies. Those funds should be redirected to countries suffering loss and damage caused by the climate crisis, and to people struggling with rising food and energy prices across the world. UNGA Fineface, NTA News.
This is Nationwide. Nana has more on Nationwide from our Sokoto Network Center. Nana?
Lydia. To reverse the ugly trend of banditry and kidnapping noted with Bina in Danko, Wasogu local government area of Kebbi State, the federal government is to establish a mobile police base in the town. This was stated by the Kebbi State Commissioner of Police. Ahmed Magaji, at his recent visits to the area.
Bena town in Danko Wasogu local government area of Kebbi State shares border with Niger State and has been recently experiencing banditry and kidnapping, crippling the socio-economic activities of the area and to a certain extent the state. Determined to revert the ugly trend, the Commissioner of Police visited the area where he disclosed that a new mobile police base will be established in the town to effectively checkmate banditry and kidnapping in the area.
Incredible intelligence, actionable intelligence, we are going to do better. So we want that credible intelligence to be passed timely so that we act fast and do the necessary things to be sure that security is well provided and people are well secured.
The district head of Bena, Alhaji Kabiru Ibrahim, assured their support and providing first-hand information to the security personnel.
We, the people of Bena Town, we have nothing to say but to continue praying for you and your men, because since your assumption of duty, things have really started changing.
The police commissioner thereafter visited the proposed site for the new mobile police base and the police divisional headquarters in the town, where he rubbed minds with officers and men for efficient policing. Ibrahim Ahmedu, NTA News.
As part of efforts to address the challenges hindering the girl-child education in Zamfara State, a pad bank has been established in some female secondary schools across the state. Wife of Zamfara State Governor Aisha Bello launched the initiative at a government girls' day secondary school in Bungudu local government area of the state. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
Pad Bank is an initiative of the United Nations Children Education Fund in collaboration with Zamfara State Government, which is aimed at addressing the challenges related to the management of menstruation amongst the girls in junior and secondary schools across the state. The intervention, which comprises distribution of hygiene kits and other related reading materials, was launched by the State First Lady Haja Aisha Bello Muhammad, represented by wife of the State Deputy Governor Hajar Hamu Hassan Muhammad Nasiha at Government Girls Day Secondary School Bungudu. Executive Chairman Zamfara State Universal Basic Education Board, represented by Director Planning, Research and Statistics at the board, Hajiya Maryam Shantali, says the BEB will continue to collaborate with other stakeholders in providing conducive atmosphere for girl-child education in Zamfara State. SEB Representative Dr. Ahmad Hashim and its DEX officer at Zubeb, Malam Muzammil, advocated for the sustenance of the initiative and its expansion to cover all schools across Zamfara State.
The girls' education, especially retention, is affected by the challenges related to the management of menstruation, which occurred during the onset of the puberty in girls.
There were goodwill messages from a number of dignitaries that attended the event, who all applauded the initiative, which they observed will have positive impact on girls' child education in Zamfara State. The intervention covers 45 junior secondary schools in some 6 selected local government areas of Zamfara State. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Sokoto. We'll take a short break and Nationwide will continue in Port Harcourt.
First edition of the Nigeria Broadcasting Awards is here. Participation and sponsorship information. Follow our social media handles at TNB Awards on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Powered by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dssPR@dss.
Now, what would make someone set out on a journey and not get to his or her destination?
Extremely important.
Imagine the victim who cannot reach out to these responders, who doesn't even have the phone to reach out. Hello, thank you very much for joining us on platform. I'm Ruth Agwe.
And the girl, especially if the girl is a minor, she's not yet 18 years. If she gets pregnant, realize that such girl is sent out of school and the boy is left in school.
Just park to pick the call.
So how much sensitization is the FRS?
I don't agree. A lot of people are just deaf.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. Governor Nyesom Wike's camp in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has officially announced its withdrawal from participating in the Presidential Campaign Council of the party for the 2023 general elections. The group made its position known after a meeting that lasted about 7 hours in Port Harcourt. Ogedi Yekwere reports.
In a communique read to journalists at the end of the meeting by the former PDP National Vice Chairman, Southwest Zone, Olabode George, affirmed that no member of their group will participate in whatever capacity in the campaign council unless the national chairman of the party, Iyorchia Ayu, resigns for a southern candidate.
Consequently, we resolve not to participate in the campaign council in whatever capacity until the resignation of Dr. Iyorchia Ayu.
This is coming on the heels of the appointment of some members of the group as leaders and members of the campaign council for the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. Present at the meeting were Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, former governors Olusegun Mimiko of Ondo, Ayo Fayose of Ekiti, Donald Duke of Cross River, Ibrahim Gudankwambo of Gombe, and Jonah Jank of Plateau State.
For the national chairman, Senator Iyorchia Ayu, to go and embrace someone calling him the hero of the convention, which there was a private arrangement. This for
the chairman has stepped down or resigned is not because any of us is agreed, but because we believe it's important to ensure a fair track.
Others are former Attorney General of the Federation Mohammed Adoki, Professor Jerry Ghana, South Vice Chairman PDP Dan Obe, former Deputy Speaker of House of Representatives Chibudon Wuche, Senator Suleiman Nassif, Nena Ukeje, among others. In Port Harcourt, Oge Dinyekwere, NTA News.
A World Bank-assisted flood control project executed by the Akwa Ibom State government has been inaugurated by Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Susan Esu reports.
The joy of the people living around IBB Way and the adjoining areas was literally visible due largely to the fact that the once neglected area by residents and landlords because of heavy flooding has been rescued by this World Bank-assisted flood control project.
For a very long time, we couldn't use this road. The whole place was deserted. The owners of this plot couldn't use this plot again.
If you look at this road, you can't move this road with a motor. Neither with it's not even trackable. He cannot swim. It's a very bad road to be talked about. But my greatest surprise is this road become a very good place.
Executed by the Akwa Ibom State government in partnership with Nigerian Erosion and Watershed Management Project New Map, the 8.5-kilometer flood control system will tackle flood in 18 local government areas of the state.
The volume of water that we had there could swallow any kind of pleasure car.
Sometimes you think things are impossible, but when great thinkers come on seats, you find that things become easy.
High point was the inauguration of the project by Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. In Uyo, Susan Esu, NTA News.
That's it from Port Harcourt. Lydia is back to you in Abuja.
Thank you, Jenny. The Chemical Society of Nigeria has agreed to complement the federal government's efforts in addressing security and economic challenges in the country. The society disclosed this at its 45th annual conference holding in Yola. Usman Mukhtar reports.
And economic challenges bedeviling the country needs a combined professional approach. This gathering is one. With abundant natural resources in the country, the Chemical Society of Nigeria believes that Nigeria will be second to none economically if due process and patriotism are applied in doing the right thing.
We also have security issues as per food security, energy security, cyber security, and all the rest of them.
We also want to let the public know that the chemist is very, very important in the monitoring of some of these things, because it's only he that knows the composition of this item and knows the implication.
The 2022 International Conference of Chemical Society of Nigeria also focused on exploring other ways in the production, processing, and preservation of food in the country to meet domestic and international needs. And participants are optimistic the Yola Conference will be the best in providing solutions to the current challenges in the country. In Yola, Usman Mukhtar, NTA News.
Needs a well-defined roadmap for seamless energy transition initiative designed around the vast potential of local resource. The place of women in the roadmap was a major talking point at the 2022 National Conference of the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, held in Abuja. Kevin Ebonaye was there.
Part of climate change has forced world-leading industrial nations to commit to cutting carbon emissions significantly by 2030. African countries are expected to join the global efforts to protect the ozone layer and the environment, with the adoption of alternative energy sources as one of the most viable ways of achieving the goal. The energy transition process also opens vast opportunities for new jobs and investments in the renewable energy subsector. Why this can be good news for Nigeria, with the largest alternative energy market in Africa, it also offers women engineers a chance to assert themselves and get to the top of the professional ladder they have gradually climbed in recent years.
How do we transit? What's our own strategy?
We can't just be doing follow, as they say. We must look at the realities of our own situation. And that's what we are talking about. And chart a course that will not be detrimental to us as a people and as a nation.
APAN has evolved into an educational and service organization on a mission to increase the number of women that are practicing engineering. This is to fulfill our vision, being an advocate for the advancement of women in engineering profession towards national and global technological development.
The 2022 APOEN National Conference was an avenue to recognize agencies, organizations, and individuals who are serving as torchbearers for the advancement of women and girls in science and engineering. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
The Arewa New Agenda says the continued participation of the North and its people in the process of governance and social-political development of the nation is not negotiable, noting that the unity of Nigeria must be upheld. Linda Okorie-Igwe reports that this group made this known at the unveiling of the Arewa New Agenda logo in Abuja.
An edifice with bright minds clamoring for a new Nigeria.
Cultured, democratic, tolerant, peaceful geographical entity with its multiplicity of ethnic identities and interwoven destiny. One North, one people.
In unity, they say, comes progress, and the unveiling of the new Arewa Agenda logo encompasses much prospect.
This forum, which is organizing and coordinating the Arewa New Agenda in collaboration with the Arewa House Kaduna, is doing a great job, and I'm sure and I'm confident they are going to succeed. Looking at the composition of the members and organizers of this forum.
With the team building strategic imperatives of Arewa New Agenda, there is much to unfold.
The unity of Northern Nigeria is very critical, is foremost for the unity of Nigeria. Therefore, coming together to actually articulate a common ground, a common goal, a common objective that can promote and protect the interests of the North is highly untimely.
We need to go beyond rhetoric and think of developing the North.
The group urges all political leaders in the country and the aspiring political candidates to stay focused on nation building and uphold the ultimate objective of promoting Nigeria's national interest at all times. In Abuja, Linda Okorie-Igwe, NTA News.
Ahead of the 2023 general election, some sections of Nigerians under the Ages of Youth Decide platform has appealed to prospective voters to search for credible candidates across all levels of political representations in the country. The youth organization says looking beyond sentiments and other pedestrian considerations as criteria for voting in leaders is apt.
Sentiment. There is no time for saying, this is my brother, this is my sister, he is from my state, he's not from my state. It's not about that. What has he done before? What is he planning to do for us now? That is the main point for all of us.
And in this 2023, it's a different ball game because the youth are more, they are more awakened. Everybody is ready to see how our nation can move forward, how we can get credible leaders that will move our nation forward.
The Nigerian Youth Decide is looking forward to an engaging session with all candidates as part of measures towards committing future leaders to national development. Now, let's take some sports from our sports desk.
Super Eagles camp in Constantine bubbles with the arrival of more players Tuesday ahead of their international friendly with Desert Forces of Algeria in Oran come September 27. Nigeria are bidding to beat Algeria for the first time since 2016, while Algeria have been the better side in their last 3 meetings.
Some of the players did not even have time, for them to showcase themselves. So I think now it's an opportunity for them, to show that yes, I deserve, to be part of the team.
This year's Armed Forces Inter-Service Sports Competition is underway at the Mogadishu Sports Complex, Abuja, with Nigerian Air Force beating Nigerian Army 1-0 in the opening football match on Tuesday. Aside football, the athletes are also competing in basketball, cross-country, taekwondo and volleyball in the 5-day event.
The organization of this competition could not have thus come at a better time, as it really stands to test the physical fitness of the competing personnel.
Meanwhile, over 100 shooters from 6 security agencies have begun hostilities in 10 meters air rifle and 10 meters air pistol at the shooting range Package B section of Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, for the 3rd annual Late Major Joseph Ojo National Championship organized by the Nigerian Shooting Sports Federation.
Because we are preparing for the World Championship, which is a minimum qualification score event, we are using his championship to select athletes that will be trained for the event.
18 shooters will make the final cut to represent Nigeria in the upcoming Shooting World Cup in Egypt later this year. That's Sports Update. I am Kenen Ima Abudike, NTA News.
And that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to join NTA in the campaign against rape and rapists. I am Lydia Odijochi. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the